This time on the infamous project.
That's probably one of the cleanest Fox bodies that I've ever witnessed in person. That I wanted. But now it's for sale.
Well, maybe. Money talks. This is something else. So the door's closed. Yeah. The plate is off.
I'd love to have it. So what would let me have it? There you go. A little something for you. Yeah.
Off of it, original spark plugs, original fuel filter. There's a brand new set of wires because I ordered them. I thought it would need it for sure, and then I did the ohm test and it didn't.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the infamous project. This is gonna be a really interesting video. It's gonna be an informative video, and it's gonna be a lesson learned and explained in a transparent video. So I am going to tell you guys a little story about what happens when you don't bring a trailer. And this has nothing to do with bringatrailer.com. Well, in fact, it could in the end, but this is going to be my story about how I didn't bring a trailer to go buy a car one day, and it cost me the deal. And unfortunately, it cost me more money because I did end up with the car 2 years later. So stick around. This is one you're not going to want to miss. All right, guys, so you probably saw in the thumbnail, there's a pretty nice looking 1990 red on black, fully loaded 5.0 5-speed notchback with 12,000 original miles. That's right, 12,000. So there's 20,000 and change original kilometers on this car. Now, this individual reached out to me on Instagram, and I'll go into the details because lucky for you guys, I actually filmed this footage as it happened back when I was still in Canada after I'd returned from Dubai. So I've got a bunch of footage that I'm going to share with you guys. But just before I get into that, this is what Shop Dad told me when we were about to leave. He said, bring the trailer. You always bring the trailer. And in my defense, we went from summer to like winter that week. So the guy who owned the car was literally out cruising the car a couple days before, and then a whole bunch of snow and sleet and everything came and salted the roads. Shop Dad has an open trailer. Who wants to transport a minty 12,000 original mile notch on an open trailer and getting salt potentially all over the car? Nobody does. And the guy that I was trying to make the deal with, we had been in communication and talks for quite some time. And he was like, no problem, I've gotten enclosed. If we make a deal, I'll deliver it to you in my enclosed trailer. So what would you guys do? Would you still bring that trailer, the open trailer, make the deal and take it away? Or would you have done what I did? So with that said, let's rewind the clock back, go back to some old footage. I'm super glad I took this footage and that I had it. I was going to try and do a video of it before, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to hold off until the day where maybe I get the opportunity to own the car. And well, I bought it. Just as a spoiler alert, he finally came around, but it cost me more money. So before we get into that, let's check out that old footage of this amazing cherry time capsule. Like, this thing is cleaner than that almond car that I recently posted up. Not to say the almond car isn't clean, but when we're talking 5.0 5-speed original, like, this car is it. So check it out. Stay on here. 3.2 kilometers. So we're driving through Coldwater, Ontario, which is heading north, and it is already very much winter up here, but winter can't stop you when you're looking for a really nice Fox body, and that's exactly what we're doing today. A few weeks ago, a gentleman reached out to me on Instagram with a mint, and I can just tell by the pictures that it's mint. A 1990 coupe red on black, 5-speed, fully loaded, if I remember correctly. And this thing is absolutely cherry. And it has 12,000 original miles on it. So 20,000 kilometers. So we're talking all original paint, nothing touched. And just looking at the trunk carpets and some of the interior pieces, just the way the seat belts are in the pictures, you can tell that the mileage is true on this car. So pretty excited. Definitely not going to be driving it because there's already salt on the roads. Won't even need to drive it. So strike a deal, then it's one of those, have to figure out some logistics. The gentleman does have an enclosed trailer, so that might be part of the negotiation tactic. So let's see what this car looks like. He said he had it out last week and there's some bugs on the bumper or something. It's a little dusty with a couple bugs on the bumper. Hope you don't mind. So you can see it's definitely really wintry here. Might have to do some snow angels if end up making a deal.
Sorry, man.
Howdy. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Not bad. So this is the car. When did all the snow show up?
Yesterday morning.
Oh man.
Didn't stop for. Well, it started at midnight,
Yeah.
and then it didn't stop till yesterday, didn't it?
Right.
It just kept just off the lake, right?
Man. The Chevy guy.
Oh, how are you doing?
Good.
You're a Chevy guy.
Yeah.
Chevy, Dodge, whatever. Whatever. It's a car, right? Yeah.
Oh,
Car
there's
guy, car guy.
a little rub in the paint there. I don't know.
There he is on the black, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah.
So how did you end up with the car?
Well, the story goes way back.
Right.
I had a black one like this, and my best friend, we may have had a few, and he drove face first infantry.
Oh.
So that was the end of that car, right? And then 10 years later, which is probably 3 years ago now, he calls me and he says, "Hey man, I just drove past Tim Hortons and there was this red Foxbody sitting there and this old guy standing beside it having a smoke." And I guess he stopped and talked to the guy and said, "Hey, like I have a friend who would love that car."
Right.
And so he gave him the phone number. I called him. He was a Laker. He ran the big ships across the Great Lakes all his life.
All right.
He bought this car brand new, but because he's on the lakes from basically, I think they start running in May,
Yeah.
and then all the way till freeze up, he never got to drive it, right? He's always gone on the ships.
Yeah.
And so I called him, and he was crusty. He was a crusty old man. So like, we were talking price, and we're talking this, or talking that, and he's like, "I don't give a shit. If you don't pay what I want, then f*** it. I'll like will it to my nephew, and if he scraps it, I don't care." And I'm like, "Just calm down." So he was just a nasty old guy, but in the end, he was really nice. He came around. But I went and looked at it. Then he says, "No, I'm not letting it go." So then 6 months later, I called him again. And I said, "Hey man, like, are you ready?" "No, but you know what? I'll sell it to you when I'm ready." So then he called right between Christmas and New Year's. We were going to take off for New Year's for 4 days. We'd already packed the truck and everything, basically ready to go, and the phone rings in his hand. And he says, "My health is bad. I want to sell the car." And I'm like, "When?" And he goes, "Well, by noon would be good." And it was 10 o'clock in the morning, right? So I had my car hauler here. So I hooked onto the car hauler, went to the bank, got the money, and went to Midland. It's only 20 minutes that way. And gave him the money, and he didn't even clean the car out. That box up there is full of his stuff that he had. He had fuzzy dice on the mirror and a racing helmet in the back window.
Car cover.
The Motomaster car cover. He tried to get $300 out of me for that. And I said, "Man, that thing is original in the box from 1990, never opened. I'm not paying you $300." But he ended up throwing it in. So
Right.
it was, so I picked it up, brought it home, and besides, I've given it a polish, but it still needs the final stage of polish.
Yeah.
But I just never got around to it, and because I wasn't planning on selling it, I just thought, okay, I'll do it this winter, right? The front suspension's dead on it, like there's no air left in it.
Yeah.
And I've called around because I wanted to try to get those recharged, just because I'd love to keep the original component with that car. But I can't find anybody that can rebuild
Right.
shocks like this.
Okay.
So my plan was maybe going to be to put a maximum motorsport suspension or something in it, just a coilover kit or something to set the stance the way I wanted and give you the ride that I wanted.
But now it's for sale.
Well, maybe. Money talks. It needs tires. The tires are 10 years old on it.
So what it?
Wheel, like,
What is it though? Like, do you? Because you wanted the car.
yeah.
So do you find like it's just too cherry and you don't want to modify it, or
So the
you're
cherry
over
part,
it?
The cherry part is one of the things.
Yeah.
It's almost too clean that you don't want to touch it,
Yeah.
and I don't want to wreck it or ruin it or anything like it. It's and on top of that, I'm trying to get this property done. You can't see that part of the property because of all the snow, but I want to focus on that next time and not spend more time driving around. So, but I love these cars, and I love the fact that nobody's.
Yeah.
I don't. Even my own personal trucks, I don't modify them, things like that. So I just.
Hood light even works. Air silencer, everything. Yeah, you're right. It's had its recall done though.
Yep. So I have a
Like
box
all
over
this.
here. The original spark plugs are still in it. Sorry, the original spark plugs are in that box. I replaced them because it ran like crap when I got it. Those are the original spark plug wires that came with the car.
They're still
I did,
date stamped.
I did an ohm test on them, and they passed the ohm test with flying colors, so I replaced them, right? And I changed the fuel filter. I still have the original fuel filter that came out of it though.
Okay.
And changed all the oils in it. But yeah, other than that, I put a Flowmaster exhaust on it.
Oh, well, of course. That's because you have to.
Yes.
Yeah.
It sounded like Grandma's Grand Marquis. You know? So.
Are these like original tire?
No, the original tire was, I believe, a Michelin, but he had those replaced. And if you look at the manufacturing stamp on them, they're about 10 years old.
Yeah.
And
They're came with Michelin's original.
yeah, and you can buy those Michelins again now at $400 US a piece.
Oh, is that all?
Is that all?
Yeah, that trunk looked like there was nothing. Like he didn't even get his groceries.
No. He had the car cover back in here and a little crate with like a couple of rags and a bunch of cleaning supplies. The car had never been washed by him. He only dry waxed it.
Yeah.
So the problem with that was when I got it, it was so badly scratched that I had to polish it.
Right.
That unfortunately just the other day got wet. I took a 6-pack with me. And the cooler, it was sitting right on top. It was just water, so I dried it out. But it's just cool to read a brochure back then. You know how proud they are. This is
Yeah.
the first car with airbag. They're just so proud when they talk about it. Right?
What is it about coolers and Mustangs? There's a good friend of mine in Florida that we went to pick one up for him. It's a 90 as well, white, and there's a nasty scratch on this quarter panel, and the story was a beer cooler scratched it.
Like if you look under here, it's
Oh yeah. Yeah, this has like never been
no,
lifted up.
never, no. You know, normally they sag or whatever when you
Yeah.
put too much weight on them, or they get damp or whatever. So, and if you look underneath, it's as clean underneath as it is up top.
I'm sure.
The original exhausts are up there. I took them out without cutting them because I figured they'd be worth something nowadays, uncut.
Yeah.
Maybe some guy who wants to restore a car to perfection and wants an original exhaust system or whatever. Yeah, it's got all these tags everywhere, like everywhere. Runs like a new car. I've put 3,500 kilometers on it since owning it.
That's more than he's ever put on in
Yep.
that amount of time.
Not a drop of oil. Like dipstick is exactly where I set it when I poured the oil in. It fires up, it runs, it drives beautiful. He did, yeah.
So
he
was the
sprayed-
water
he
pump have
thought-
been done?
He said there was some rust there, so he sprayed it, and I'm going. "Ugh." So my plan again this winter was to take that apart
Yeah.
and just take some bar salt and clean it out.
Yeah, no, this would definitely be a nice one.
I bet you.
So-
So, the
so
other thing I
you-
was going to look for this winter, I was going to take the driver's seat out and see the build sheets under the carpet.
Oh
Right
yeah.
here, apparently they're under there.
Yeah, I know in the earlier years they used to stick them behind the rear plastics and
Yeah.
in there, and then these ones sometimes, like I've heard of people finding them underneath the rear seat as well, just because it kind of
Yep.
lifts up off
Yep.
the bars.
I had the rear seat out because the driver's side seat belt had a twist in it. You know how they sometimes do a twist?
Yep.
So I had the rear seat out and I couldn't find it under there. But I wanted to take that twist. It's original floor mats in it. Like they're like new. They've always been covered. He had 10 layers of paper in there. He bought this, did he? Brand new. I have a Carfax and everything that shows that he bought it. He bought it. He was in Port Colborne, which is like 401 down towards Ottawa, right? And he was down there with the ship. They were unloading something, and I guess he had 2 days while they were unloading. And so he went to the Ford dealer, and the salesman came driving around in this particular car. So when he got back to Midland, that was the next stop with the ship. He went to Bourgeois Motors in Midland and walked in a dealer and said, "There's this red Mustang in Port Colborne. I want to buy it." So they brought it up for him. He bought it, and then at Bourgeois Motors, it's only one mechanic that has ever worked on this car. He's been at Bourgeois Motors for 38 years or something. He's the only person that's ever touched it. And apparently, that man is now upset because I guess the car was supposed to go to him. I didn't know. But he's now an upset mechanic. Because I went there, I wanted to try to get a service records for it. But of course, because of privacy reasons.
He thought it was going to get Will to.
Well, and I think that's what he should have done. There's a tiny stone chip in the passenger side door, right at the top there, right in the top 4 inches. I can fix that. I can touch that up really well. I have everything for detailing and paint job stuff here.
Just right there.
No, yeah, that there, I gotta fix that. I tried to forget that. It's up here.
Oh, okay. Oh, that one.
Right there. But I can fix that. That one was easy to fix. The other one, I'd have to take a door off to fix it, but that's another thing I wanted to potentially do this winter. I only messaged you because, well, you asked, is there any free thoughts about it?
I'd love to have it. So what would let me have it?
Well, I mean, you and I talked numbers already, right? I'm pretty firm on the. I said I would work with you a little bit.
Yeah.
I guess it's not even really about the money itself. It's about just if I get for it, I let it go. If not, it's only going up in value every year. I don't know. Maybe it's just a number. Here is Marty report.
All right.
Here is full Carfax for it. Just shows every time you bought a sticker and renewals and everything else. It shows no accidents, no anything. That's just my insurance. And then here is the original tags for the keys.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 key tags. It comes with 2 sets of keys. Then here is the original
Oh yeah.
warranty thing. Child seat belt, never opened. Child seat locking clip, never opened. Original belt that came off of it. Original spark plugs. Original fuel filter. There's a brand new set of wires because I ordered them. I thought it would need it for sure, and then I did the ohm test and it didn't. There's a brand new oil filter here. I just bought 2 because why not? But yeah, I think it's all there except the owner's manual, and he couldn't find it.
Lewis, if your owner's manual goes missing, it's me.
This is something else. So the door's closed. Yeah. Like it's off. Yeah, probably. I don't really know how long. 6 months a year.
All right, time to get deposit money. The deal has been made. In case you guys haven't noticed, that's probably one of the cleanest Fox bodies that I've ever witnessed in person. So you don't pass these types of cars up, guys. Even got delivery included in the deal, as I was hoping for. So going to count out some money here and make this deal happen.
Yeah, let's see. It's 135.5. It's usually 133.
All right,
So
we're doing all right. What do you think, Dad?
But it's even the story is
Yeah, the story is sweet.
like tanker's old man that bought it and never
Yeah.
drove it. 'Cause he
And I get to use all the footage and your story about the car.
okay.
I can blur out your face if you're concerned. I'll blur out the plates so that people don't see those.
Well, once the car is gone, I don't
Okay.
care about the plates because there's nothing here to steal now.
Okay.
I just don't want somebody coming in here 4 in the morning and
Yeah, no,
she's gone. Right?
No, it won't get posted until
It's too hard.
I have.
Yeah, or we can even do, like, if you want the proper story, we can, you know, we can do another take kind of thing.
No, I like the raw,
All right.
the raw footage. People appreciate that these days. They don't like the
You should see
scripted
what-
stuff.
It's so funny, this guy. Like, that's why I kept this stuff too. This is all the stuff that's in there.
Yeah, let's see what else you bought here.
Yeah.
Mystery box. Oh Jesus!
That's sweet.
Oh my God! You can't even.
There's a
Make
big,
this
that
shit
shifter
up.
was in there.
I don't know what that is. Yeah, I got
What's your,
you put that around.
Look
your
at this.
that was on the mirror. Yeah.
Oh, Cayuga.
He said he did one run
Yeah.
at 16 seconds. So I guess he didn't hump on it all day.
These are worth the money right here.
No, this is sweet. I love that helmet. That helmet should be up on my shelf.
These are gonna go up just at least for a picture.
Look at the old plates. Original plate.
All right.
Texas.
Texas. There you go. A little something for you. Yeah. Is this like his old Camaro or something? Or that'd be a Trans Am. The Firebird? What is that, Firebird?
Oh, that's 80s. Definitely 80s.
Is this where he bought it from?
Yeah, that's the dealership in Midland.
That exhaust on it.
You could. So at first, I'm like, no, that's not what I remember from high school. I need more sound.
Yeah.
So I called the guys at Performance Improvements and said, hey, I need a Flowmaster kit. And then I remembered that you can't get the exhaust off without cutting it. And I'm like, well, I don't really want to cut it. So dropped a couple bolts and dropped the axle down a bit. And pulled it.
Oh, right.
No.
You just
Yeah.
like it doesn't go harder. But
That was kind of it for me too.
yeah.
I've done that 10 times. Like every time that door closes, I have a bit of a grin on my face. It doesn't sound like it when the window's down.
It's not like the old square bodies where you get mad, so
Boom.
slam the door
Yeah.
4 times and leave. I'm gonna get that extra little bit off. But I think he knows what he's got too.
Well, would you not have bought it?
Yeah, if I had the extra money, yeah, absolutely, because I'd be flipping it.
Well, at least he knows that I'll most likely be flipping it, so everybody makes some money. He probably paid like 15 for it, so he's doing good.
If that.
Yeah.
No, he knows what he's got, for sure.
Nice area, though. I thought you were gonna make a deal for that old truck.
I didn't really think he wanted to sell it.
Lawn ornament.
Stole it. You could sell that thing for $5,000 all day.
I am hungry. Time for lunch. And a beer. All right. Beer's on me, Dad. All right, so there's the footage. Now you're probably like, okay, well, what happened? You gave the guys some money, you saw the car, and Well, clearly you didn't end up with the car. Well, I did, but a couple years later. Well, the next day, you know, I wired him the money. We actually did the deal in US dollars to take advantage of the situation. At that time, kind of like right now, the US dollar was doing good and a lot of my money was tied to US and not in Canadian. So it worked out for everybody. And so he got the money. He calls me and he says, listen, man, I'm really sorry. I'm going through some life stuff right now. Kind of sat in the garage and stared at the car. So basically I gave him time to think. And during his thought process, he came to the conclusion that he wasn't wanting or willing to sell the car as of yet. So he's like, man, I'm going to send you your money back. I'm really sorry, but I promise you that if I ever go to sell the car, you're going to be first in line. So from that moment forward, I never heard the end of it from Shop Dad. He said, son, you should have brought the trailer. You should have brought the trailer. You should have brought the trailer. And I was just like, you know what? I'm not upset with my decision. Having covered, and if you guys, anybody from the north that knows, once it snows and it's like that around freezing, melting, you know, temperatures hovering right around 32. So stuff is melting, stuff is sleety, and it's all with the salt. Like that car would have looked white by the time we got it home in salt. And this car, not having been an undercoated car, which is another really awesome thing to have, because a lot of the Canadian cars were, you know, undercoated from the dealer or owners that had it done after the fact. This car isn't drilled. It doesn't have all that coating on the underside. It is clean. So I stand by my decision that I didn't do to that car what could have been done just in order for me to own it. That just, I wouldn't have been able to sleep at night. I wouldn't have felt comfortable putting this video out, or a video at that time if I ended up with it and being like, oh yeah, I bought this car, by the way, I covered it all in salt and it probably went up in all the cracks and the seams and everything. And best of luck to the next person. So in the end, I got my money back. I didn't end up with a car, and I never heard the end of what happens when you don't bring a trailer. So let's talk more positive. Let's get on to the way forward because, well, guess what? I finally ended up with the car. So we've been going back and forth, just the odd text message. How's it going, man? Hope all is well. Are you enjoying the car? And it's like, oh yeah, you know, I took it out to go get a sandwich, or, you know, the car's still sitting where you saw it and nothing's changed. I've maybe put a couple, you know, miles on it here or there. And the important thing is staying in touch and communication. Now, last year, he hit me with an absolutely outrageous price. And that was sort of like at the peak of the Foxbody notchback market in reality. And finally this year, he came down to a more realistic figure. And with the US dollar being at a pretty good spot, it made the deal worthwhile. So we made the deal, and he made sure, he said, listen, if you send me the money, I will make sure that I deliver the car. Like, no worries, anywhere that you need me to take it to. So he actually brought it to Dale's, aka Shop Dad's, and the car is there, safe and in storage. And in fact, I've actually got some footage I'll share with you guys now, some updated pictures and a little walk around video. So be sure to check that out right now. So I think there's a couple lessons to be learned here. Number one, persistence is key. Like, I was talking with this guy for a year before I ever met him or saw the car from that original footage that you guys saw. Number two, always bring a trailer, because, you know, I'd wired him all that money. And then he came back the next day to say, I'm sending you your money back. And the story almost sounds familiar. If you guys have followed me for some time, you would have seen the 96 SN95 Dutch car. That was another car that I bought, sent the guy. That was just a deposit, mind you. And then when I went to go see the car for the first time, he pretty much handed me my deposit back. He had seller's remorse instantly. So this is the first time that we've actually met in 2 years. And now I'm taking my money back. It happens, guys, but you can't let it bum you out. You're gonna be bummed out. Like, honestly, it rubbed me the wrong way for a really long time. And then I had Dale always chirping to this day, should have brought the trailer, should have brought the trailer. And of course that cascades on to mutual friends, and they're always like, hey, remember that time you didn't bring the trailer? So I've been hearing about this for a long time. And yes, I ended up paying more than what that original deal was. However, there's still, it was a fair price, you know? So I'm not that upset about it. Originally, I was really excited about this car. I was like, man, I really need to have something ultra low mile, minty and original, because again, that was at the peak, and it was sort of like, you know what, investment status. And then whether it did go to bring a trailer or went to Barrett Jackson or whatever, you just never know. Like, that's one of those things where you just have a good deal, you buy it, you figure out what you want to do with it after. So what am I going to do with this car now? To be honest with you guys, I have no idea. I think if somebody offered me a really good dollar for it, maybe I would just let it go real quick. So if anybody is looking for something like you've seen in this video, by all means reach out. And, you know, same thing as the Almond car, I'm not going to entertain, you know, ridiculous offers that make absolutely 0 cents. I'm not at the same time going to be thinking that I'm going to get $60,000, $70,000 for a Fox Notch that's not even a specialty car. The car does have a lot going for it, such as being fully loaded in AC. The only real drawback is the fact that it's got cloth interior and not the tweed. I do actually have a set of tweed coupe seats. I could be incorporated in the deal for the right price, maybe. I'd have to, my rear seat would be actually coming out of the white car. Anyways, we won't get into that. If you guys are genuinely interested in the car as it is, it has all that original exhaust, it has all the original paperwork. It's got 4 brand new gator backs that can be installed since the car is still on its old original tires. So it is all there. So feel free, reach out to me via my website or email me directly, info@theinfamousproject.com. If you're interested. Otherwise, I'll figure out what I'm doing with it. Maybe I'll bring it down to the Motor City Fox Fest in July and show it off there as an ultra clean example, because ultimately the car is closer to that show than it is to me down here in Texas. So I'll need to figure that out. So there you have it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Having that footage and being able to kind of dig up the archives is awesome. Reliving some of those memories and of missing out on that deal kind of sucks, but at the end, everything worked out. So I'm really happy about that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thank you again for your support. And as always, we'll see you next time here on The Infamous Project.